Well, hello, good day, everybody, and welcome to another live and provocative conversation with your girl, Sherelle Brown. We have a special guest in the household. Let me just turn a light on it. For some reason, I'm seeing, the
There
heavens
she is.
have Listen, we don't do anything in the dark because we know what the word of God says. It must come into the light. And so we just turned the light on and here today. But this interview, listen, is so necessary. I want to introduce you to a colleague and a friend. Listen, this girl, she has been with me from day one for the journey, and we're going to continue journeying together. Her name is Miss Jennifer Otts. Hello, somebody, all the way from Florida. And so she's joining us today. She is a health coach, a certified health coach. She graduated from IIN. I'm going to let her tell you all about that in just a few minutes. She is the mother of one beautiful young girl. And her testimony today is going to be to anybody who's been struggling with health issues or sickness in your body. She's going to tell you how she overcame and maybe share some tips about how you can do the same. So without further ado, I'm going to give her some virtual round of applause. Miss Jennifer.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Rell. I am so tickled to be here and so tickled to be interviewed by you. You're just phenomenal. I have felt a connection with you since day one. So I hope everyone else feels that connection too. We get along so well.
So share with our listening audience today. I would like for them to know a little bit about Jennifer. What qualifies Jennifer to sit here today and to speak to them, or should I say to minister to them? Because I understand my platform as it relates to healing, as it relates to bringing help, as it relates to bringing hope. And that is what these interviews are about. We're not just selecting any and everybody to speak to the people. No. This is about ensuring that the word of God gets out into the world and that lives can ultimately be changed. So just give them a little background about who Jennifer is, and you can just go straight into how the Lord leads you in terms of your testimony today.
Sure. Well, I just said the other day that I think it was Jerry Seinfeld who said we live our life 10 years at a time. So I guess I'm working on about my fourth lifetime now. But in previous lifetimes, I grew up in the church. I grew up living a very healthy, wonderful life. I cheered for the Miami Dolphins. I had worked for the Miss Universe organization. I was a Miss Teen USA and then choreographed and judged for the Miss USA and Miss Universe system, and really enjoyed my life, and then became very ill. And looking back, I realize now that it was probably God's way of tying me to a tree. My grandmother always told me a story about how she would tie, when she was very pregnant with my mom, she would tie my uncle to the big oak tree in the front yard to keep him safe. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes God does that with us when we're getting a little out of control or when we're headed to the danger we don't see coming. Yeah. God will definitely tie us to a tree.
I love the analogy.
With me, it was tied to an IV pole. I actually named him at one point. His name was Bob. We put a shirt on him. He had some Mardi Gras beads. We decorated him because he was with me for quite some time. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And if you've ever suffered with an autoimmune condition or a chronic illness of any type, you know how frustrating it can be to go from doctor to doctor to doctor and not get any answers. And I suffered through that for a very long time. When I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, I actually had a bowel resection. I had about 1.5 feet removed from my small intestines. And as soon as the surgery was over, my body began to shut down completely. And the doctors couldn't come up with any answers. They dismissed me, or they released me from the hospital, and I was back within about 24 to 48 hours by ambulance with no pulse on the left side of my body. And at that point, they admitted me, and they just kind of shook their head and called my family. My brother even said he remembered me asking if he could see the beautiful lady singing. So at that point, you know, I was probably seeing my angels. And they finally determined that I had an autoimmune condition, but they didn't know what. So then I was diagnosed with lupus. I spent months with home health care, in and out of the hospital. If there's anything weird or rare, I've been diagnosed with it.
Wow.
And then on top of that, I had very severe reactions to the medications they tried to give me. So at that point, I really started looking for a holistic way to get better. I started looking at, and praying for answers. I couldn't continue the medication. The side effects were horrible. I knew it was doing more long-term damage to my body than it was helping in the immediate. So I was blessed to find a book as soon as I got out of the hospital called The Maker's Diet by Jordan Rubin. And this book really transformed what I knew my entire life about food. And, it definitely allowed food to become my medicine and my medicine be my food.
Yes, yes.
And the book definitely gave me guidelines to eat by, but I wanted more because I saw such an immediate relief from the Crohn's disease just in changing my diet. So long story short, in the past year, I've done more than I had done in the previous 10 years combined.
Wow.
It's really turned my life around just to change my lifestyle and to change my diet. Diet being first and foremost, but it has to go hand in hand. When it comes to our health and wellness, we have to look at the big picture. Jordan Rosenthal from the IIN taught it as the full circle of life. And I've always said you can eat all the kale in the world, but if you are still in a toxic relationship or have an unfulfilling career, you're still not going to feel well. And that was part of my problem, was all around stress. And I finally had to get a handle on that stress and get a hold of my relationships and really turn it all over to God, not just my health, not just to ask for healing, but to listen to what I had to do to actually receive it. I could believe all day long, but until I actually did some of the things that it says to do in the Bible and some of the things that God led me to do and to make the changes that I knew I needed to make in my life, that's when I really started to see healing.
Wow. So just a quick question for you.
Sure.
Do you believe that a lot of things that we do with emotionally and mentally can physically affect our bodies? The reason why I'm asking is because I know some persons are going to be watching this. They know that they have physical ailments, but they may not quite understand that those physical ailments can be connected to things that are both physically or mentally or even emotionally. So could you talk a little bit about that for me, please?
Sure. I believe one of the biggest things we do that affects our health and wellness and affects our life, in its entirety, is the words that come out of our mouth. The things we say have such an impact that we're not even consciously aware of it most of the time. In fact, I was telling my daughter last night, she and I had a long discussion about blind spots. You can actually create blind spots in your life just based off the things you say. I used to do it all the time when I was little. I would say, Mom, I can't find my shoe. She would say, well, it's got to be with the other shoe. I'd say, no, I can't find my shoe. It's not here. Jennifer, your shoe is going to be right next to the other shoe. Go find your shoe. I've looked everywhere. I don't see it. And my mom could come right into my room and pick up my shoe. And it would be right in front of me, but I never saw it. Yeah. And it's because your brain won't allow you to lie. So when you say something, your brain is going to make it come true. So when you say, I don't see something, your brain won't allow you to see whatever it is you're looking for because you can't be a liar. Wow. So it's the same way with our health, with our relationships. Those things that are coming out of your mouth, when you say, oh, I'm just so sick and tired, I just feel awful. When you constantly repeat those things, you can't be a liar. So your brain will convince your body, okay, well, she said we don't feel well, so I've got to not feel well.
You know what scripture this took me? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Life and death lies in the power of the tongue.
Power of the tongue.
You just spoke that principle, girl.
Absolutely. I never really understood. I thought that had to do with saying bad things about other people. I didn't know it necessarily had to do with the power of my own life, the power of the words that I was speaking into my own body. So I think it first has to come out of our mouth. When we had our awards ceremony the other night, I loved how everybody followed the yes, yes, because God spoke this world into existence.
Yeah.
But the one thing I did learn this the other day, that He spoke everything into existence except for you and I. Mm-hmm. He formed us with His hands and filled us with His breath, which I thought was really cool, that everything else He spoke, but you and I, He actually put His breath into.
Wow.
But I think that because we were formed in God's image and He spoke things into existence, we have to speak those things and call them forth out of our own voice as well.
Wow. When you said that, oh, Jesus. When you said that just now, oh, I got goosebumps. The thought that He put His breath into us. When He did that, He gave us His power.
Absolutely.
He gave us the power and the ability to operate in the same principles that He did.
Absolutely. And He also, he formed us from the dirt and from the earth, and then He put it under our feet.
Listen, power and dominion. Listen, Jennifer, you're
Absolutely.
dropping some nuggets on this platform today. Ladies and gentlemen, under the sound of my voice, whoever's going to catch this live or catch the replay, I encourage you, no matter what you are walking through in this life, whether it's sickness in your body, unrest in your mind, I'm going to remind you that our God is a healer. We operate on a dual platform, but ultimately, He's the sovereign God. He says, as you decree a thing, so shall it be established. Now, today, I want to introduce you guys to this awesome, awesome, awesome lady. So, guys, I know we got interrupted for a second, but I just wanted to reiterate what we're talking about. The fact is, we know that both physical ailments can be connected as a result of both spiritual and mental issues. And so, Jennifer was just speaking as it relates to that. And so, you can go ahead and just hop on in how you realized that it was not enough just to get physical healing, but you had to release some things spiritually, mentally, and emotionally before you could walk into the fullness of all that you were entitled to in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I think it was so important that I used my voice to speak those things, but then I also had to listen to instruction. Once we ask for healing, healing doesn't always come in the form of oh, you're suddenly better miracle. Sometimes it comes in the form of get your tennis shoes on and walk for 5 miles a day.
I like that.
Sometimes your healing comes in a word of get your butt off the couch and, get rid of that crap relationship you've got going on, get the toxic people out of your life. And then you're going to begin to see more and more healing.
Wow.
I think sometimes God doesn't just heal us. God expects if we get a miracle, we're not going to learn. Sometimes we need to suffer through and we need to follow instruction so that if we ever end up in that boat again, we've actually learned a lesson on how to get out of it.
So if we get an instant miracle, we may have not learned the lesson.
Correct.
So,
I think a lot of times our physical, we don't immediately get into a physical problem. A lot of times that occurs over several years.
Yeah.
For example, when I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, I had been pushing off going to the doctor. I had been pushing off the stress. I was working too much. I was going out at night. I was playing way too hard. And God saw the danger I was going to get myself into if I didn't slow back down. So I think that's why I think everything does happen for a reason. And again, it is for that lesson. God was definitely tying me to a tree and getting me still enough to be able to hear his voice. And it is that still small voice, but a lot of times it is a voice of, here's what you need to do to get better.
So here's the last two things I'd probably like for you to leave with whoever our listening audience is going to be today is maybe some physical tips or maybe some physical things that you had to apply to your journey. Because like you said, you were healed from Crohn's disease, you were healed from lupus, and like you said, if the doctor said it was a disease, you had it. But thank God right now you're sitting here with us today, healed and whole. Listen, guys, I'm so grateful for this lady, this divine connection. And so when you find people of this caliber who your spirit connects with you, listen, hold on to them. Don't let them go.
That's right.
If you try leave me, you got to carry your left leg, your side rib, and maybe your arm or two. I'm that kind of a girl, buddy. And so share with them maybe one or two things that you saw that you had to do physically that helped in the direction of your healing, and then maybe one or two things you had to do maybe emotionally and mentally. And then I want you to leave your contact information. Somebody out there struggling with lupus, somebody out there struggling with Crohn's disease, somebody out there probably is naming their IV drip. And so they may need to know that there's somebody out there who would have been through that. And I want them to be able to connect with you so that they can know that, listen, if she did it and if he did it for her, then it's so possible for me.
Absolutely. That's the one thing I always tell people. If this little girl from Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama could figure it out, then I think God could give anybody the direction they need. I would say, first of all, if you are suffering, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm available through my website. It's Jennifer Otts, OTTSINC.com, JenniferOttsInc.com. On my website, you'll find information on how to reach me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can find me pretty much anywhere. But Jennifer Otts Inc. INC is my .com is my website, and there are like I said, somebody who knows and who can relate is going to make the best coach for you. Somebody who can go through a timeline with you and find a root cause resolution and not just treat your symptoms. The best time to call a coach is when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You've gone to 15 different doctors and never gotten a full diagnosis. Then it's definitely time to contact somebody who can relate to you spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And we are a tripart being, again, being formed in the image of Christ, and in the image of God. We're a tripart being. God is a tripart being. He's man, spirit, and Heavenly Father. So I think that us being mind, body, and spirit. So that's why health coaches are nice. We don't break up the body into all these different parts like most physicians. We really look at the whole person and at the whole being. One of the things that I started doing physically that the doctors did say I had healed miraculously from was doing yoga. I enjoy yoga because it's not just a physical workout. You're also working your insides when you do yoga, but you are also getting a mental workout as well. There are a lot of things that you can connect with spiritually. And a lot of people think of yoga as being like a Middle Eastern philosophy type, that you have to sit on a pillow and be Buddhist and meditate for half an hour. And that's not the case. With yoga, you can be as diverse as the world is, but I have found that it is a great way to connect with my Heavenly Father. The meditation, the quiet time, a couple of other physical, well, not physical, but the mental and emotional parts. I do recommend meditation. I have clients that are CEOs and run huge corporations, and they have told me that meditation is the one thing I recommend that has changed their lives. And I think it's because we just don't take the time in this day and age. We're so distracted. As you and I both have attested to during this video, that, with kids and being a mom and being pulled in 50 directions, you have to take that time for yourself and get quiet and work on a good strategy for your day. So I definitely recommend meditation. There's a great app called the Calm app, CALM, and you can download it on Android or iOS. And I have a link to it on my website, and I don't get paid anything from them. I just recommend it. There are some other ones if you don't like this one, but my daughter even uses this one when she can't sleep at night.
Wow.
If an 8-year-old can learn to meditate because of this one, I think it's a pretty good one, because I've never gotten tired of it. It always has different structured programs that you can go off of. But it's great if you've meditated for years. It's great if you've never meditated at all. And if you haven't, I highly recommend you try it for about 7 days, just 10 minutes in the morning, and contact me and tell me what kind of breakthrough you've had. Because I've yet to meet anyone that has started meditating that hasn't loved it. And it's just because we need that quiet time to reflect, renew, and refresh and get our day started. And then the last thing I recommend, I'll make this so I don't take up too much time, because I could go on for hours. Another thing is gratitude. It is amazing to me the difference that just having gratitude. Gratitude is actually the antidote to fear and worry. And those are our two biggest stressors. But the more gratitude you have, the less fear you're going to have, and the less you're going to worry. Gratitude is one of those biblical principles that you can't go wrong on. And it's reinforced time and time again to be thankful. And I make a list. Abby makes a list every day of at least 5 things we're grateful for. I've joked for a long time that Abby could be in the biggest throwdown, meltdown, need a bottle, need a pacifier, wrong blanket, need a bedtime story kind of fit. And we would start doing the gratitude list at night. And if my child couldn't think of anything else to be grateful for, she would say toilet paper. I thought, okay, well, being the overachiever that I am, if she can come up with toilet paper, surely I can think of at least 5 things I'm grateful for today. And I've found that makes the biggest difference in the world. Every morning and every night, I think of at least 5 things I'm grateful for. And I actually write it down. Pen to paper makes a huge difference. People who write down their gratitude and write down their goals, only 97% of, I guess it's the only 3% of all people will actually write things down, like a gratitude list or their goals. So the more you can write down, the more you can journal, the better off you'll be.
All right. There you have it, ladies and gents. There you have it, Miss Jennifer Otts. One more time before you go, tell them where can they find you. That website, one more time.
Yes, my website, I'll actually spell it out. It's www.jennifferottsinc.com. JenniferOttsInc.com. And I'm
right.
also on Facebook under Ms. Otts.
There you have it. There you have it, ladies and gents. Thank you for joining us for this very special interview with Ms. Jennifer Otts. We just want you to know that you are not alone in your situation or circumstances, that our God is still a healer. And if he did it before, he can do it again. Thank you for tuning in
Absolutely.
today. And anytime we have another event, we will certainly let you know. Blessings to you all. Blessings, blessings, and more blessings.